4K video editing PC build 2020. Fire breathing. So you want to take your YouTube videos to the next level, and you need a 4K video editing rig. But 36,000 pesos doesn't look like it's gonna cut it. Well, stop looking at that pre-built PCs if you don't want to end up spending more in the long run. It's 2020. It's about time you put together a high-end 4K video editing PC build that doesn't break the bank. Hey everybody, welcome to the Thrifty Honcho. In this video, we'll talk you through what you need to build a 4K video editing PC for 36,000 pesos. This build allows you to edit 4K and 1080p HD videos in Adobe Premiere, VSDC, Filmora, DaVinci Resolve, and pretty much any other video editing software excluding Final Cut, because it's for Mac only. Alright, first things first. This is a build for 36,000 pesos. At the time I'm making this video, all of the PC parts do add up to approximately 36,000 pesos. But depending on your budget, I'll share with you as well some higher priced options for some of these parts. That way it gives you more flexibility, a better and faster video editing experience overall. Second, this video is only about which computer parts to buy, not how to put them together. No worries though, because there are tons of YouTube contents out there about putting the computer parts together. But I'll probably make one soon for the sake of this editing rig. Cool? Third, the computer parts mentioned in this video are all linked in the description below. Let's get to it. Speaking of CPU, which is the brain of the computer, your processor is by far the most important part of the build, and you should focus more of your budget on the CPU than anywhere else. The CPU that you choose will tell you how fast your computer can edit and render video. The AMD Ryzen 5 2600 currently retails at 6,380 pesos. Built with the highest multiprocessing performance in its class for gamers and creators, is the budget CPU option that I've chosen for the purposes of this video. If you have a bit more room in your budget though, say you can afford an extra 2,300 pesos, then I would highly recommend the Ryzen 7 2700 CPU for 8,650 pesos. As I've mentioned, CPU is where you should focus more of your budget on. The more threads and cores that your CPU has means you'll get more traction. And with more traction means the faster your video editing and rendering will be. Flexibility is entirely up to you. As for the motherboard, we're looking for something that has the military look, fierce, rugged, with extended heatsink design for better thermal solution, with DDR4 boost, core boost, turbo M.2, and USB 3.2 generation 2 for blazing fast footage transfer. So I would go for the MSI B450 Mortar Max. Currently retails at 5,370 pesos. This motherboard is pretty sick, and it's just the way to go. If you want another variant of this motherboard, just by paying an extra 200 pesos, then you'll have yourself the B450 Mortar Titanium. Next up, RAM. We want our editing program to run smoothly, especially when dealing with high resolution RAW files, and to be able to edit 4K video, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM pretty much sets the standard. So we want to go with 2 sticks of Kingston HyperX Fury 8 gigabytes, 2666 megahertz for 2,040 pesos each, for a total of 4,080 pesos. 16 gigabytes should be enough RAM to handle 4K video editing. But if you find yourself simultaneously running multiple video editing programs, then I would highly recommend Team Elite Vulkan 16 gigabytes 3200 megahertz DDR4 RAM. This will be a great upgrade considering you're going from the speed of 2666 megahertz to 3200 megahertz. And it is a great value for money as well, retailing at 3,650 pesos. You're gonna need two of these to make it 32 gigs, and that totals to 7,300 pesos. Now let's talk about storage. It's a smart idea to invest in an SSD over a traditional mechanical hard drive. Why? Because if you're editing in 4K, you can't afford having some dropped frames because that could have an impact on production quality. We want to go diskless, and we want our storage to be high capacity and fast, so we're going with ADATA SX 6000 Pro 256 gigs to run our operating system, video editing programs, and some important software. Priced at 2,300 pesos, you will not be disappointed. As for the storage of raw files and finished videos, I would highly suggest Lexar NM610 500 gigs M.2 SSD at a fair price of 3,290 pesos. You have an option of going with the Samsung 970 EVO Plus 500 gigs. It will give you a maximum sequential read speed of 3,500 megabytes per second and a maximum sequential write speed of 3,300 megabytes per second. With that much speed, your system boots in seconds. And it's a great value for money as well for only 6,884 pesos. The cost is not that hefty, but then again, if you're okay with going over the 36K budget, flexibility-wise there's no stopping you if you decide to buy so. Getting almost done with the parts. Now let's talk GPU. I would highly suggest the Galax GTX GeForce 1650 4GB DDR5. Currently retails at 9,310 pesos. It really is a great pick for a budget build. It's not power hungry, it does not require any external power supply. It works great and flawless, not to mention its outstanding one-click overclock feature. I've never had any problems with it in terms of performance and compatibility with the editing programs that I use. However, if you find it fancy to use DaVinci Resolve, which is super GPU intensive, you might want to invest in Gigabyte Radeon RX 590 8GB. It costs higher by around 2,900 pesos. For our power supply unit, we want something that's affordable, reliable, and true rated. A PSU that can provide sufficient power to our editing rig. For this build, which is not power hungry, we would go for Deepcool version 2 500 watts true rated PSU at an affordable price of 1,560 pesos. However, if you want something fancy and if you have a bit more room in your budget, I highly recommend Seasonic Everbronze 520 watts modular PSU, which is on sale for 3,400 pesos. It's fancy enough in a way that the cables are detachable, which means you only have to use the cables that you need, making your build look clean. Now the part where we can show off all the hard work we've done. Without having second thoughts, I picked the Cooler Master Q300L for 3,000 pesos. A case that has a good cable management feature. The sleek architecture is so lovely, it complements the military look of our chosen motherboard. It just looks so good, makes the rig more fierce looking. It's a perfect case because all the parts that we picked do not generate a lot of heat. Comes with free 120mm cooling fan. Just add 4 more cooling fans and we'll have a very good airflow. As for the operating system, I never had to actually pay anything. I just made use of a product key from an old Windows 7 operating system. Use that key to activate my new copy of Windows 10 Pro, which can be downloaded for free from the Microsoft support site. If you don't have a Node product key to use and wish to buy the cheapest legit Windows 10 Pro product key, just click on the link down in the video description to purchase. Video processing, rendering, and exporting is way fast for this kind of setup. I mean, for real, this build is pretty sick. Just imagine how it's gonna be when playing high-resolution games on a budget rig such as this. This build has the advanced technology to deliver pure data signals for the best gaming performance and stability. Supporting first, second, and third generation AMD Ryzen processors, there's no doubt this rig should be fast and powerful for years to come. As for the keyboard, mouse, monitor, they're actually pretty basic. They're not included in the 36K budget, but for your convenience, I'll link them down in the video description as well. I actually went through my stuff and found these 3 items: the Turbo Car decal, Viserion Dragon Breathing Fire, and an RGB LED strip. I thought these would make a great decoration for my build, so I let them serve their purpose. So what do you think? Do they look good on this rig? Oh yes, definitely. In case you want to grab these items, I'll have them linked down as well in the video description. Please keep in mind though that prices and stock availability are subject to change, so it would be best to refer to the merchant page to have the most up-to-date information. If you find this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can also leave your comments below. I'd love to hear what you would put together for a 4K video editing rig under 36,000 pesos. And also don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos from the Thrifty Honcho. Thank you so much for watching. See you on my next